Is Toshi better than PEPE? Well, for me, it is. And the only reason is not just because I think that Toshi is cooler and more interesting and more unique. Another reason is because I could hypothetically see Toshi go into the price of 2 cents during this board. And even though nothing I say is financial advice, let's take a look at this logically, right? 2 cents for Toshi from the current level it is in as of right now would be around a 46x from here. PEPE can't do that, in my opinion, especially in the next 6 to 10 months. The reason being is because let's take a look at PEPE, right? Market cap around $3 billion. How can that do, let's say, around a 46x from here? It's a little bit impossible, in my opinion. There's no way PEPE is going to exceed like over $120 billion in market cap, like during this board, at least in my opinion. Now, again, I'm not necessarily guaranteeing anything. However, the way to take a look at it is that even beyond that, why do I think something like Toshi could be a big narrative? It's because if you take a look at something like Toshi, right? People usually like hypothetical upside, much like myself. Now, some people love microcaps, but I'm not into that. I'm into these projects that are relatively up and coming, but again, doesn't have an outrageously high market cap. Even besides that, what would have an easier time, let's say, doing over 40x from here? I think hands down, it's going to be something like Toshi as opposed to PEPE during this board. I think PEPE, when it comes to the community, of course, it's a lot more dynamic than Toshi as of right now. More fans, more just attention when it comes to it. But I'm not arguing that point, right? Many people would argue that PEPE fundamentally is a better meme coin than Toshi. However, in terms of hypothetical upside, I think it can't really be denied the fact that, Toshi at this point, just because it's, relatively a lot lower, it just has more room to really prove what it's capable of. And I don't think that's a bad thing, really, because some people like to say that, oh man, if you don't like PEPE, that means, you think meme coins are bad. Well, that's not the thing. Again, I love meme coins. I think PEPE is great, but I think something like Toshi is a much better pick for me. Whether or not something's better or not is usually very subjective. Like, it depends on personal opinion. But for me, I just would rather, believe in Toshi as opposed to PEPE as of right now. Now, let's not forget, right, when it comes to PEPE, the use case really isn't that dynamic. Now, it's not really necessary for a meme coin to have a dynamic use case, but it feels like PEPE really isn't trying that much, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to PEPE, I get it. Again, it doesn't really need to because the community and the fan base is already established. But why not do a little bit, Take a look at Toshi, right? They even have something called Toshi Mart, which is basically a meme coin launchpad, so people can launch meme coins using that. Now, again, is the adoption for that going to be the best of all time? Probably not, right? But it's just a good touch, right? It shows that they're not being lazy. Not to mention, we take a look at Toshi tools. Now, this right here will quite essentially help guide someone towards their journey to be building on the base network. And if you take a look at Toshi tools, they do have like something called a multi-sender, a token locker, a liquidity locker, a launch pad, and also something like a token launcher. So again, it's pretty well versed in terms of the use case. I'm not necessarily saying again that this is the best of all time, but I do like that when I see something like Toshi again. Now, why do I think Toshi just stands out when it comes to PEPE in a sense that it's very interesting and unique? The reason being is because the base network is a very hyped up layer 2 network when it comes to Ethereum. Now, granted, a lot of activity when it comes to layer 2s in general kind of has gone down by a lot, but that I even talked about in my previous video, it still showcased that, allegedly, when it comes to being the number 1 layer 2 for Ethereum, allegedly, again, that title does belong currently to something like the base network, which is Coinbase's layer 2 network that was built in collaboration with Optimism, which is one of the leading Ethereum layer 2s. But even besides that, when we see a meme coin on, again, the base network, something that's on the rise, something that's up and coming, and yet the meme coin already has a good fan base, is even listed on Coinbase, by the way, this is something that really is such a no-brainer pick for me. I mean, we got to take into consideration how, people usually like the next up and coming thing. They like the new and shiny toy, so to speak, right? And when it comes to the base network, it really does play into that narrative where it's this very unique network that's, backed by amazing giants, like for instance, in the case of Coinbase, but in collaboration with Optimism, and then a layer 2, it's already proven. We already know that people like it. And then yet we have a very special meme coin on there. This really has something that could be very special, at least hypothetically. Now, what makes Toshi even cooler? Not only is the name very similar to Satoshi Nakamoto, but then it's actually named after Brian Armstrong's cat, and Brian Armstrong, as we all know, or should I say probably that we know, right, is Coinbase's co-founder. So again, we take a look at when it comes to something like, Toshi, it's very cool, it's very interesting, much cooler than PEPE as of right now, because I think the main selling point for PEPE, especially back then when it had that massive rise, I think the main selling point was the fact that, hey, this is not another dog-themed meme coin. I think that was the main unique selling point, right? A meme coin that's not a dog-themed meme coin, but then at the same time still has a good fan base and has a very cool and unique factor. I think that was the main unique selling point when it comes to PEPE. However, as of right now, just being a meme coin that's not a quote-unquote dog-themed meme coin, that's not something that can really fly. It's not something that can really just pass off, right? You know what I mean? So the way you take a look at it is that when it comes to something like, Toshi, it's really cool. It's like this, for instance. I'm pretty sure like tennis back then, and now I'm just making an analogy, right? I'm not saying I'm a tennis expert or anything like that, but I'm probably assuming that back then the technique wasn't as refined as of right now. Like probably I'm saying like, decades ago, probably if someone didn't have such a refined like backhand, I'm pretty sure they could probably get away with that in a sense. But as of right now, if someone wants to become like a tennis pro, they have to have everything like dialed in. Like everything has to be amazing because the level of competition is just higher. It's like no different here, in my opinion. There's so many meme coins out there, so much competition. Just being, again, a meme coin that's not dog themed can't make it, become really amazing, in my opinion. This is not like back then, right? As of right now, we need something interesting, we need something unique, and Toshi does fit that bill, in my opinion. Now, with over 600 million crypto owners, according to Crypto.com research, as of right now, this bull run, I think, is far from over. Despite the pullback, I still think better days are ahead. Toshi is going to do amazing, but PEPE is going to do good. Now, let's take that into consideration. I think amazing, hypothetically, is better than good, right? At least in terms of the analogy I'm using here, because, again, PEPE is going to do good. It's not going to do bad, in my opinion. The fan base is too good, it's too amazing, but it can't do like over 40x, in my opinion, at least from as of right now. I'm just saying this because the way you take a look at it is that, again, Toshi, way lower market cap. I think it's much more interesting. Keep in mind, if it were to go to the price of 2 cents, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $8 billion, which I get it is like over double than what PEPE has as of right now. But I'm not saying that Toshi is going to reach this next week, right? What I'm saying is that, let's say PEPE goes to like, a 20 or like $30 billion market cap. Something like Toshi at that point, let's say reaching around $8 billion in market cap, I really don't see why that'd be too crazy, at least in my opinion. Not financial advice again, but keep in mind, historically speaking, as a worst case scenario, we do know that usually altcoins peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. The last Bitcoin halving event happened in April of last year, so based off that date, that would actually be in around October this year. Again, historically is when altcoins could peak as a worst case scenario. Now, granted, no one knows the future, at least from what I've seen or from what I understand. Like, I can't tell the future, but I can take a look at the past. And when I take a look at historical data like this, I'm going to pay attention to near the end of this year. I think around summertime, things are going to start, hypothetically picking up again, which is why I'm still very bullish. PEPE is not bad, but I think that when it comes to something that I want to choose, something that I really want to believe in for my portfolio currently as of right now, I think in that sense, Toshi is just a much better pick for me. Even though I'm not telling anyone to buy Toshi, I can only speak on my behalf. However, again, this is what I think is better for me. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. Greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.